Look at this angle from October 9th, when our Des Moines officers responded to a report from a security guard at a local complex. This guard said 3 people were in a car, clearly indulging in some highly suspicious and illegal substance. From this view, he just wanted our officers to help remove them from the property. Police Zone 1. Police dispatch here. What is going on? You doing okay, man? What? So, what is happening tonight? We got a call about you guys looking like you were smoking some stuff here. Honestly, I can see smoke pouring out of the car. Do you all have identification on you? Yeah. Well, we are over here, investigating this suspicious activity, since you were smoking something inside. So, we just need your identification now. Same goes for the backseat passenger. Can I say I do not want to give my ID? No, you actually must identify yourself. What is that? No, you must identify yourself. I just explained this to you. Get out of the vehicle or you will be officially detained here. Sorry. So, if everything is fine, show your IDs. We will run them to ensure everything is clear and you are leaving. Alright, do you have state ID on you? No, I do not have ID. I was walking home. Right then. So we ask his name. He goes, Arbor, spelled like a tree. He nods yes. Next, the last name. While we write, we tell him to relax. But wait, why is this guy so incredibly nervous? He is shaking. It is fine, but why the sudden panic? The body cam shows he is visibly terrified. Is he okay? Does he live here? So what exactly is he doing here anyway? He claims he is just visiting a buddy, but then he stumbles over his own address. Wait, West Des Moines. He nods nervously. Got it? Do his friends actually live in this neighborhood? Suddenly, he has no clue where they live. Or maybe it is the south side instead. How does he even know these guys? Say that again. Turns out, his buddy does it too. Alright then. Now we ask the female passenger's name. My partner checks her ID while we chat. We need her first name. She says Brenda. We ask if she owns this ride. She also claims West Des Moines residency. She confirms it. Now we ask a magic search consent question. Any objections? She hesitates. Suddenly, she plays the confusion card. We keep it simple, just yes or no. No trick questions here. Why would they deny a simple vehicle search? Is there something hidden? She stalls, looking for a good excuse. Then she mentions smoke from the engine. They just arrived. We had just arrived here. She complied. I needed that back window rolled down, just a few inches. We must see inside for safety. My partner was checking her license. Meanwhile, I had to keep visual contact. As a cop, dark windows always worrying us. Seriously. Next, I ordered her out of the vehicle. Ma'am. I kept my tone calm and reassuring. Compliance. She asked if it was necessary. I confirmed it, keeping things moving quickly, directly. I promised to explain shortly. Keeping her relaxed prevents sudden movements. Entirely. I clarified she was not arrested. We always have them face away for safety. I immediately checked her for hidden weapons. For security. Checking everywhere. Detaining her is standard safety protocol. Again, emphasizing this is not an arrest, just detention. She requested her phone be put away. I agreed, but safety comes first. I had to double lock the handcuffs. This prevents them from clamping down tighter. Secure. Where is the device? She pointed to her pocket. I verified the pocket location. Here, or elsewhere. She said it was on the wheel. I grabbed it for safekeeping. I had my partner escort her away from the vehicle. Now, I focused on the passenger. Unpredictable. Ordering him out facing the cruiser. First, we make sure they don't have any weapons. That fanny pack has to come off, placed inside the car for officer safety. She seems to cooperate, but then she hesitates, claiming there is absolutely nothing inside. As police officers, we cannot take any chances. With unsecured items, even holding a cell phone poses a tactical risk. We ask again to confirm there are no knives, sharp blades, or dangerous hidden shanks. Hidden. She immediately deflects, trying to explain that she just moved her nearby vehicle. But our priority is to secure the scene and determine exactly what we are dealing with. Always, de-escalating is absolutely crucial. Once we ensure there are no threats, we proceed to secure the hands. I gently turn her wrists to make cuffing safe and easy. She complies completely, which is always ideal. Now, I must inspect the suspect vehicle door for evidence. We guide her safely toward our patrol car. Next. My partner stays with her while I make a ADIO call. He's got eyes. A second suspect approaches. We immediately order him to stand right next to her, keeping both individuals detained and fully secured. Now, I interview the store's security guard. They confirm they have clear surveillance footage recorded. Inside, I asked what they witnessed. Apparently, the suspects were handling some aluminum foil, which they temporarily dropped onto the ground for a moment before searching around to recover it for suspected drug use. Understood. This caller was on the phone, telling Joe exactly what suspicious activity he just saw. He noticed they had 2 pieces of tin foil, a male and female. Understood. 145, Adam. Our officers. Plate 3139. They aren't smart. They are doing drugs right now. I instantly spot it lying on the asphalt. Copy that. Thank you. Burnt foil sits on her floorboard. Let's see what is inside that car. You do. It is on your floor. What is that? We need you to be honest. You aren't driving. You won't get a DUI or anything. We are just trying to figure out what is going on. Look, telling the truth will help you out. Understand that my partner and I aren't here to bust you for minor things. We don't care about small crimes. I will call Cordell. Sorry, buddy, copy that. Foil with drug residue on. We are detaining 3 suspects right now. Security caught them on camera. Burnt foil right there. There is drug residue at the bottom. 123. Under her floorboard, we requested to consent to search. They both know. They claim there is nothing. That is what security suspected. So, and 124. I spotted it right before you arrived. So let us work together. Let's keep this radio channel clear. Right. We have 1 suspect detained at the scene, but he immediately gave us a false name. My partner is still questioning the other 2. Copy that. We proceed carefully. We always gather any available bystander video. It secures vital evidence for the trial. If they can send a copy, it helps. It protects the community. Sometimes digital files are hard to transfer immediately, but we ensure we grab it eventually. Every angle protects our integrity. I discovered 30 suspected fentanyl pills inside. These are highly lethal street drugs. Our job is getting them off. He was smoking right before we arrived and tried to smash the pipe to pieces, right on the floorboard, hiding his tracks. We look for hidden items. Exactly. But the rest of the contraband is here. Correct. Using this specific device to inhale, while another crushed tool sat down below. There were more pills inside his personal backpack. Look, see. Secure it. The heavy evidence is right on his side. We prioritize recovering the dangerous chemical pills. First, bag the narcotics. Keep them safe. That is the primary charge we need. The lesser trash can stay behind. No. Hold on. Another satchel was found in the back. We monitored his physical state. Dispatch confirmed our location for medical backup, right on 14th Street. We kept pushing him for real identification, but suspects often lie to evade arrest. His name is Andrews. Sounded like trouble. He is playing dangerous games. Officers need to inspect this bag now. Searching his bag for safety reasons. Right, we almost forgot that detail. Dispatch sends medics to 14th Street immediately. At this point, his identity is unknown. Still, calling unit dispatch. Officer calling in. Transporting the suspect to jail, into police custody. Watch her standing over there waiting. She wants to know our cruiser number. Clearly, cruiser 1. She does. Yes. The officer secures her coat first. Dispatch warns of a language barrier. A 39-year-old male fell out of bed, struggling to breathe. Officers race to the medical scene. A highly volatile situation unfolds. We locate the exact jacket she wanted. Exactly. We grab the jacket, hoping it is hers. It should do the job. Understood. Right. There we go. Arriving at 14th Street. Our officer asks for more details. An unresponsive subject has been reported, making strange noises in the area. Is that your call, Ed? Yes. Do we log that report? Negative. Was the weapon under the seat? It was right behind the seat. Got it? She indicates something by his door. She admitted the drugs were probably hers. Once we verify his ID, he's clear. We just need to run him through our system. Now, look, our officer returns his license. The contraband remains inside. Notice how one officer covers the search, inside the vehicle, securing the evidence, guiding him back.
34.
We place him in the cruiser for safety. This keeps both the suspect and our team secure, safely. A thorough search is critical here. Backup is already en route. We look for dangerous fentanyl pills. They are hidden inside this container. M33. The passenger is free to go. Confirmed. The actual pill. Did he examine the drugs? Was he already facing an arrest? Watch. We ask about their addiction history. 2 years. We try to offer recovery options. Understanding their struggle helps us prevent future offences. To drugs. Medical assistance is on the way. To keep safe. Our deputies always show humanity during arrests. Breathe. We help talk him through his panic, keeping him calm and breathing steadily. We verify the registration of the vehicle. Determining ownership is our priority. Affirmative. Checking on his condition. He is sliding into unresponsiveness. Understood. She is carrying for M30 pills and some cocaine, and he has 3 more. We always crack the window for fresh air, while keeping the vehicle heat turned up, for comfort. Even during arrests, Suspect welfare remains paramount. Our duty is to protect and care for everyone, no matter the situation. She is safely secured inside the cruiser. I introduce Officer Lester to keep things calm. He is there to assist her. She is under arrest, but our team still prioritizes her safety and keeps her warm. Next, we must follow strict protocol. I prepare to read her the Miranda warning before we ask any questions. I grab my rights card now. She asks to adjust her hair. We accommodate her request. Then I begin. You have the absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney. This ensures justice is served fairly. Always. I ask if she wants to talk. It is completely her choice to cooperate. Now. Initially, she chooses not to speak to us. Understood. But then we discover the hidden narcotics inside her vehicle. I immediately remind her of her rights. She confirms that she remembers them. Surprisingly, she decides she wants to speak. We ask where the illegal drugs originated from. She claims a local stranger approached their vehicle in this neighborhood and made an offer to sell them dangerous substances. She says she didn't know him. Our officers clarify the exact timeline. Yes, she admits they blindly purchased the narcotics. Correct. Dealing with unknown dealers brings massive danger, straight to our streets. Here, we are trying to pin down their timeline. How long had they been waiting before we finally arrived? Did anyone approach them during that window? Specifically, did they offer them drugs? The suspect claims it happened earlier in the day. Supposedly. We note the story shift, but keep moving. Keeping it polite keeps everyone safe. Both suspects are quickly loaded into patrol vehicles and taken straight to the county jail, where they face felony fentanyl charges. To see how we protect your community, make sure to like and comment and subscribe.